Hello coaches, Michael here. We wanted to make a little video for you about how I use intuition in my coaching. For me, intuition has been something that's very special. It's a field and an area of work that I've sort of very intuitively found myself really getting deep into, doing a lot of training with intuitives, with psychics, with mediums, with channels, and finding that those were kind of skills that were very natural in me. And what I've come to find is that for most people, especially people who get into coaching, these are people who, I'm talking about you, by the way, you fellow coaches, are people who are naturally intuitive, are empaths, who do pick up on other people's emotions and who do, you know who to call and when to call them, you know what to say and when to say it. And you're already pretty natural at being intuitive. And so, why I wanted to make this video was just to kind of, maybe boost your confidence a little bit and encourage you to experiment with, especially when you're, training or doing practice, or even when you're working with clients, to experiment with letting intuition kind of guide your session. Of course, staying within the boundaries of what the client wants to work on and things like that. But you can always offer a unique perspective through the questions that you ask. And you don't really have to explain where you got the questions from. You don't have to tell your client that, I'm channeling right now. I'm a medium right now. I'm using my psychic intuitive abilities, however you want to think of it. You just, integrate it with powerful questions. You integrate it with maybe guided visualizations. You can overtly incorporate intuition or covertly incorporate intuition. So I'll just share with you a little bit about what intuition is to me, and a little bit about how I specifically use it. And I'll give you a little guidance too on how you can kind of make a little bit more space in your nervous system and in your brain, sort of mentally, physically, and spiritually, for intuition to sort of come into your nervous system and into your consciousness. So why don't I do that first? So I'm just going to show you some little physiological things that I do to kind of clear my mind and allow intuition to flow. These are things I just do at the beginning of any session where I'm working with anyone anyway, because they also calm the nervous system down. So the first part you might not do while you're working with the client, but we'll do it for this exercise, and that is to just close your eyes and just feel the surface that you're sitting on or laying on or standing on. Is it soft? Is it hard? Notice the temperature of the air around you on your skin. Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it dry? Is it moist? Notice the sensation of your clothing on your body. Again, you can be doing any one of these things with your eyes open while listening or even talking to someone in a moment's pause. It just takes a few moments. Just let your jaw loosen. And right now, even, kind of stretch your jaw and let it hang open a little bit. And when you're working with a client, you might not want to hang your jaw open, but you can just, loosen it a little bit, keep your lips closed, and let your tongue fall to the bottom of your mouth. Tip of your tongue touching the back of your bottom teeth, back of your tongue, almost pulling it down a little, maybe touching the tip of your throat and just allowing your tongue to rest on the bottom of your mouth. Just notice your breathing. Maybe just naturally allowing it to slow down for a moment. Just kind of holding on to that, keeping your jaw loose, your tongue at the bottom of your mouth, noticing your breathing. Notice how your body feels, right? When you're doing those physiological things, your nervous system cannot become more relaxed. You kind of put yourself into more of a rest, digest, receive state. Really the state you want to be in when you're working with a client. You do not want to be in fight, flight, or freeze in any area of that spectrum. So these techniques sort of downregulate the nervous system. And the nervous system, especially the heart space, is really where intuition comes in to our body. Our heart is a electromagnetic beacon. It's like an antenna. It's like a radio dial. And when you're kind of doing these calming techniques, or whatever kind of helps you kind of get in the mindset to work with a client, you're kind of like tuning in to the right frequency, right? Because your body's going to tune into whoever you're in front of, or you're seeing over Zoom. Your heart, is picking up on the frequencies of the planet. So it certainly is connecting you to those around you. And even if you don't quite understand that or quite believe that, that's okay. So you've made some room in your nervous system for intuition to flow in through the heart, up through your central nervous system into your conscious mind, right? Your body is your unconscious mind. Your body's brain, if you didn't know that. And at that point, you are ready to see what comes to mind. And you can kind of assume that different thoughts that come to mind, different impressions that you get, maybe you get images in your mind, maybe you hear words or you see words, maybe you feel sensations in your body. You can rest assured, and it's a pretty good bet that is intuitive information for your client. And you can experiment with that and really develop an ability to kind of really know when you're out of your fight, flight, or freeze state. Maybe if you've had a stressful day or you rush in between sessions or whatever is happening in your life. But when you kind of find this place of calm, that the information that is coming to mind is intuitive, that it's there to help you move your client forward in whatever way they're looking for you to support them. And so, I might get the word trust, right, as I'm working with a client. Maybe it's on a relationship issue, maybe it's around a career issue, whatever it is. And so, my response to the client is going to be, when they finish talking, to say, so who aren't you trusting? What aren't you trusting? You need to trust yourself, right? That would be not very good coaching. But I might say, what is the role of trust in this situation, right? And when you ask a question like that, you see it. They're like, oh, right? And so, you can kind of learn how to weave your intuition into your coaching. And there are some clients that I work with. I also work with clients who are, we are overtly spiritual in our sessions. And so something like intuition isn't a foreign idea. It's welcomed. And so I might say, my intuition's saying the word trust. What do you make of that? And you can do that with clients. You can educate them about what intuition is and how you use it. I would say, I see to Jen and folks at, who are training coaches on that one. But, you can find your own way to integrate it. And just, taking a moment for yourself as a coach, what would that give you to know that not only do you have the ability to develop sort of a coaching presence that takes you immediately out of any sort of distracted state and you're tuned in right to the client through that empathetic, sort of that empath heart space, and that, you're actually channeling some information that maybe your client is struggling to see because their perceptions are blocked, right? Their mindset isn't allowing it. They've already decided maybe against some possibilities because they just can't imagine them happening in their life. And whether you make that clear to your client or not, you have the ability to, throw that information into a question. You can offer it off to the side. Sometimes when I'm working with a client, especially if it's a client, we've established rapport, I might say, this just comes to mind for me and I'm just going to put it over here. What is this? What does this mean to you? What comes up for you when I bring up this idea? But I think really just asking powerful questions that are guided by your intuition can really help you move a client forward. And I'll just make a point about that and a point about powerful questions. I think a lot of times as coaches, and new or not, we catch ourselves trying to come up with a question as the client's talking. And so one of the benefits of really beginning to learn to trust and lead with your intuition in a coaching session is that you're going to know what question to ask when they're finished talking, right? Because if you're coming up with a question, 10 seconds before they're finished talking, you've missed out on a lot of information that, might have given you a better platform to stand on when asking a powerful question. And so, what would that give you to just know that your intuition is going to provide you with the insightful, the powerful, the meaningful question? Or your intuition is just going to say, it's sage time, or what do we call that? not bullying the brain, when it's a negative voice. Well, you know what I'm talking about. We can use our intuition to shift us around in the session too. I just kind of focus on powerful questions because I found that that's the best way, because I tend to be more clairaudient and very visual. I'll see words in my mind. I'll sort of have a thought or even sort of an auditory inner experience that I'm like, that's interesting. That's not Michael. That's something else. And powerful questions, I find, are a really natural way to integrate that. So I'm going on and on here, but let me know if you have any questions in the comments or reach out. And I always love sharing about intuition with coaches. I use it as well just in my own life to make decisions. Recently just moved into a new apartment and a new city, and boy, I didn't plan any of it. I followed my gut. And so I love sharing that with people. And I love teaching people that, the future doesn't have to be a mystery. And the future doesn't have to just happen to you. So anyway, that's another way intuition can kind of benefit your life and the life of the folks that you work with. So thank you.